There will be days when the world presses its weight against your chest and asks if you are strong enough to stand. Days when your past whispers doubts, when failure echoes louder than hope, and when giving up feels easier than going on. In those moments, it is not talent, luck, or applause that carries you forward. It is the discipline of your mind. A disciplined mind does not deny pain, but it refuses to be ruled by it. It learns how to breathe through the storm, how to speak courage to fear, and how to rise again with quiet dignity. Resilience is not something you are born with. It is something you build, thought by thought, choice by choice, day after day. And today, we begin learning how to train the mind to stand unshaken, even when life tries its hardest to knock us down. Discipline is not punishment. It is an act of self-respect and self-love. It is the way you tell yourself again and again that your life matters too much to be lived on impulse alone. When you discipline your mind, you are not shrinking your freedom, you are shaping it. You are choosing what deserves your energy and what no longer has the right to disturb your peace. A disciplined mind learns to protect its dreams the same way a mother protects her child, firmly and without apology. Resilience is born in ordinary moments, not in grand speeches or dramatic victories. It is formed when you wake up tired and still choose to try, when disappointment visits and you refuse to unpack your bags and stay. The mind must be taught how to stand steady when emotions pull it in 100 directions. Without discipline, thoughts scatter like leaves in the wind. With discipline, they learn to gather, to focus, and to move with purpose, even when the path is unclear. Life will test you in ways you did not study for. It will bring loss, rejection, delay, and silence where answers should be. In those moments, discipline becomes your anchor. It reminds you that every feeling does not require a reaction, and every thought does not deserve belief. A resilient mind knows how to pause, how to listen, and how to respond with wisdom instead of fear. That pause can save your dignity, your dreams, and sometimes your future. Disciplining the mind means choosing hope when bitterness feels justified. It means speaking gently to yourself when the world has been harsh. Many people are broken not because life defeated them, but because they kept repeating cruel words to themselves in private. A resilient mind practices kindness inwardly, knowing that strength grows best in soil that is nurtured, not abused. Self-love is not indulgence. It is the discipline of refusing to abandon yourself. There will be days when progress feels invisible, when your efforts seem small and unnoticed. Discipline teaches you to trust the process even when results are slow. It whispers that consistency is more powerful than intensity, and patience more reliable than panic. Every time you choose discipline, you are training your mind to endure, to adapt, and to rise stronger than before. And one day, you will look back and realize that resilience was never about avoiding pain. It was about learning how to carry it with grace. A disciplined mind does not harden the heart, it strengthens it. It allows you to bend without breaking, to fall without surrendering, and to rise without bitterness. This is the quiet power of discipline, the power that teaches the mind to survive storms and the soul to keep shining long after they pass. A resilient mind is not something you suddenly find when life falls apart. It is something you have been quietly building long before the storm arrives. It is shaped in the small, unseen choices you make each day. How you speak to yourself in the morning, how you handle frustration, how you respond when things do not go your way. Strength is not born in chaos. It is revealed there. What carries you through the crisis is the discipline you practiced when life was calm. Every day offers simple opportunities to train the mind. When you choose patience over anger, focus over distraction, and purpose over excuses, you are strengthening an inner muscle. These moments may seem ordinary, even insignificant, but they are powerful. Just as the body grows stronger through repetition, the mind grows resilient through consistency. You are teaching yourself how to stay steady, how to remain clear, and how to move forward without being shaken by every passing emotion. Many people wait for motivation to appear, believing they will change when they feel ready. But resilience does not wait for feelings. It is built through commitment. Discipline shows up even when motivation is absent. It is the voice that says, "Keep going," when comfort begs you to stop. Over time, this discipline rewires the mind to trust effort over excuses and progress over perfection. This is how confidence is earned, not through ease, but through endurance. When hardship finally arrives, as it always does, the trained mind does not panic. It recognizes discomfort without being consumed by it. It knows that pain is temporary, but quitting leaves a permanent scar. A disciplined mind remembers past struggles survived and draws strength from them. It does not ask, "Why is this happening to me?" but instead whispers, "I have been preparing for this moment." That belief alone can change the outcome. Training the mind daily also means learning how to rest without giving up. Resilience is not constant pressure, it is balance. A disciplined mind knows when to push and when to pause, when to speak and when to stay silent. It understands that rest is part of strength, not a sign of weakness. By honoring this balance, the mind stays clear, the heart stays hopeful, and the spirit stays alive even during long battles. In the end, resilience is not dramatic or loud. It is quiet, steady, and deeply rooted. It is the calm decision to rise again, even when no one is watching. When you discipline your mind each day, you are building a foundation that no storm can easily destroy. And when the crisis comes, you will not be searching for strength. You will already be standing in it. Your thoughts are seeds, small and often unnoticed, yet powerful enough to shape the entire landscape of your life. Every idea you entertain, every belief you repeat, is quietly being planted in the soil of your mind. Some seeds are hopeful, patient, and brave. Others are heavy with fear, doubt, and regret. The disciplined mind learns to recognize the difference. It understands that not every thought deserves attention, and not every feeling deserves to be fed. What you choose to water today will determine what rises tomorrow. When you wake up each morning, your mind is already listening. It listens to how you speak to yourself about your past, your abilities, and your future. If you water thoughts of limitation, they grow into walls that block your progress. If you nourish thoughts of possibility, they grow into paths you never thought you could walk. Discipline is the quiet decision to stop feeding thoughts that weaken you, even when they feel familiar or comfortable. Familiar does not always mean healthy. A resilient mind is careful about repetition. It knows that the thoughts you repeat become beliefs, and beliefs become behavior. When hardship appears, the undisciplined mind feeds fear and calls it realism. The disciplined mind feeds courage and calls it preparation. This does not mean denying pain or pretending everything is easy. It means choosing thoughts that help you endure rather than collapse. Resilience grows when you train yourself to ask, "Will this thought strengthen me or steal from me?" There will be moments when negative thoughts arrive uninvited, loud and persistent. Discipline does not mean never having them. It means not letting them take control. You can acknowledge a thought without obeying it. You can feel fear without allowing it to decide your future. Each time you redirect your focus toward growth, gratitude, or learning, you are watering better seeds. Over time, the garden of your mind begins to change, and so does the way you respond to life. The mind becomes resilient when it is fed daily with intention. Just as no garden thrives on neglect, no spirit thrives on careless thinking. Discipline teaches you to be selective, to guard your inner world with care. It reminds you that hope, when watered consistently, grows roots deep enough to survive drought. Faith, when nurtured patiently, becomes strong enough to hold you upright in the wind. One day, you will notice that situations that once broke you now bend you without shattering. You will realize that resilience did not arrive overnight. It grew slowly, quietly, from the thoughts you chose to water when no one else was watching. This is the power of a disciplined mind. It turns thoughts into strength, pain into wisdom, and ordinary days into the foundation of an unshakable life. Pain may knock on your door, unannounced and unrelenting, but discipline decides how long it stays. Life will bring moments of loss, betrayal, failure, and disappointment. These are inevitable, as certain as the rising sun. But the disciplined mind is not defined by the knocks at the door. It is defined by the way it chooses to answer them. Pain will arrive, but it does not have the power to remain unless you invite it. Discipline teaches you to set boundaries, even within your own heart, and to refuse to allow suffering to dictate your every action. When hardship comes, the mind often wants to collapse under the weight of it, to replay the hurt and linger in despair. Discipline whispers differently. It says, "You will feel this pain, but you will not be consumed by it. You will acknowledge it, learn from it, and then move forward." Pain may sting, but a disciplined mind does not hand over the keys of your spirit to the storm. It recognizes the lessons hidden within the discomfort and uses them as stepping stones toward growth and strength. The moments that hurt the most are often the moments that teach the most, but only if you have trained yourself to see beyond immediate suffering. Resilience is born in the choices you make in the presence of pain. When disappointment lingers at your feet, discipline helps you stand tall. When rejection whispers lies about your worth, discipline reminds you of your value. Pain may leave bruises on the body or shadows on the mind, but discipline ensures that it cannot permanently darken your spirit. It is the quiet force that allows you to carry sorrow with dignity and still walk forward with hope in your eyes. A disciplined mind also understands timing. It knows that emotions, even the most intense, are temporary. Allowing pain to overstretch its welcome only prolongs suffering. Discipline teaches you to grieve fully but not endlessly, to feel deeply without being trapped, and to honor your emotions while refusing to be ruled by them. It is in this measured approach that resilience strengthens, because the mind learns to hold space for pain without surrendering to it completely. Over time, this practice of responding to pain with discipline becomes second nature. You begin to notice that situations that once broke you now challenge you without defeating you. You learn that pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. By disciplining your mind, you are no longer a passive recipient of circumstance. You are an active participant in your own recovery and growth. Pain may knock on your door again and again, but with discipline, you decide not just how long it stays, but how it shapes you and how you will rise above it, stronger, wiser, and unshakable. The mind that learns to pause becomes a mind that cannot be broken. In a world that moves too fast, where every distraction competes for your attention and every crisis demands a response, the ability to stop, breathe, and reflect is a superpower. Pausing is not weakness. It is strength. It is the space between impulse and action, the moment when you choose clarity over chaos. The disciplined mind understands that every reaction need not be immediate, every feeling need not dictate a decision, and every storm does not require a frantic response. In that pause, you find control, and in control, you find resilience. Pausing allows the mind to see clearly, to separate truth from fear. When anger rises, a disciplined pause prevents words you cannot take back. When doubt creeps in, a pause allows reason to speak louder than panic. When grief presses heavily on the heart, a pause permits healing instead of hastened regret. The mind that can pause is the mind that can think. And the mind that can think is the mind that cannot be shattered by circumstance. This pause is a refuge, a quiet place within yourself where you can reconnect with your inner strength, your wisdom, and your courage. The practice of pausing also teaches patience. Life rarely unfolds on our schedule. Plans are delayed, expectations are unmet, and people sometimes fail us. Without the discipline to pause, frustration grows into anger and impatience turns into despair. But when the mind has learned to pause, it can witness the unfolding of events without being consumed by them. It can wait without anxiety, observe without judgment, and respond without haste. In this space, resilience grows quietly, unnoticed at first, until it becomes the very foundation of your character. A paused mind is a mindful mind. It notices patterns, it senses opportunities, and it learns from mistakes without being enslaved by them. It is in the pause that creativity is born, insight is gained, and strength is reinforced. The mind that can pause does not react to every challenge with panic. It chooses to respond with wisdom. It sees obstacles as lessons and setbacks as temporary, knowing that the moment of stillness can transform even the heaviest burden into manageable steps forward. Learning to pause also teaches the mind to embrace uncertainty without fear. Life is unpredictable, and certainty is a rare gift. But the disciplined mind does not demand guarantees, it cultivates composure. In the pause, you realize that waiting, observing, and reflecting are not signs of hesitation. They are strategies of resilience. The mind that pauses understands that storms will pass, that fear will fade, and that patience, coupled with action, creates an unbreakable inner strength. In this simple act, you train your mind not to bend, not to break, and not to surrender. You train it to rise always, no matter how hard the wind blows. What you tell yourself in silence shapes how you rise in public. Every word you speak to yourself when no one is listening is like a thread weaving the fabric of your character. The thoughts you repeat in private become the voice that guides your actions in the world. If you tell yourself that you are weak, incapable, or unworthy, those messages will echo in every room you enter, in every challenge you face, and in every dream you dare to pursue. But if you discipline your mind to speak courage, kindness, and determination to yourself, those words become the quiet force that lifts you when the world seems determined to push you down. Silence is not empty, it is fertile ground. What grows there is unseen at first, but it eventually manifests in the strength of your presence. A resilient mind understands the power of inner dialogue. It knows that you cannot control what others say or think about you, but you can control the story you tell yourself. That inner story is the compass that guides your reactions, the map that shows the way forward, and the shield that protects your heart. When you nourish it with truth and hope, it equips you to rise gracefully, to face adversity with confidence, and to respond to criticism without losing your balance. What you whisper to yourself in moments of doubt becomes louder than any public applause or condemnation. When fear creeps in, the disciplined mind reminds itself of past victories, of battles survived, of mountains climbed, and dreams achieved. It speaks to the heart with patience, saying, "You are stronger than this moment. You are capable of more than you realize." These private affirmations may seem small, even insignificant, but they shape your posture, your voice, and your courage in ways that others notice, even if they cannot name it. The mind that speaks wisely in silence radiates resilience without effort. The silent messages you feed yourself also determine how you handle failure. When disappointment arrives, as it always does, a mind trained in self-encouragement does not crumble. It does not fall into despair or self-blame. Instead, it whispers, "This is temporary. This does not define me. I will rise again." These private words prepare you to meet the world not with defensiveness or fear, but with calm strength and clarity. What you cultivate in solitude shapes your public victories and your graceful recoveries, teaching others that true resilience is rooted in inner discipline. Over time, this practice transforms not just how you respond externally, but who you become internally. The conversations you have with yourself in quiet moments are like seeds, and with each kind, empowering and disciplined word, you grow a mind that cannot easily be shaken. When challenges arise, when criticism stings, and when life tests your limits, you carry within you a voice that has been nurtured in silence, a voice that insists, I am ready, I am strong, I will rise. And in this way, your inner discipline becomes your outer power, and your resilience shines naturally, unmistakably for all to see. Strength is not loud, it is the quiet consistency of a trained mind. It does not need to announce itself with boastful words or grand gestures. True strength is steady, unshaken, and patient. It shows up day after day in the small choices that others may never see. The decision to keep going when hope feels distant, the discipline to focus when distraction tempts, the courage to face discomfort rather than escape it. A trained mind knows that loudness may draw attention, but quiet consistency builds character, resilience, and lasting power. The quiet mind carries its strength like a river, flows beneath the surface, soft, unseen, yet unstoppable. It moves around obstacles without breaking. It nourishes life along its path, and it persists through seasons of drought and storm alike. You may not notice it immediately, but its presence is felt in the way it endures hardship, adapts to change, and rises after each fall. Consistency is the heartbeat of resilience, and the trained mind never misses a beat, even when chaos surrounds it. This strength is cultivated over time in ways that are often invisible to the world. It grows when you resist the urge to react in anger, when you choose patience over impatience, when you embrace learning rather than giving in to pride. Each act of discipline, no matter how small, strengthens the foundation of the mind. It teaches you that you do not need to be dramatic to be powerful, that perseverance outweighs flashy victories, and that the deepest strength often resides in silence and stillness. A trained mind understands that challenges will come and go, but its quiet consistency remains. It does not rely on external validation or applause to feel worthy. It does not crumble when the world is indifferent. Instead, it draws on the inner habit of showing up, doing the work, and honoring commitments to oneself, to one's dreams, and to life itself. This is the essence of true resilience, a mind that has been trained to remain steadfast, calm, and unyielding even in the face of trials. The quiet strength of a trained mind is also compassionate. It is not harsh or rigid. It is firm yet gentle. It knows when to push forward and when to rest. It lifts others without diminishing itself, and it persists without arrogance. This type of strength does not seek recognition because it is self-sustaining. It does not need to shout to prove its presence because its effects are visible in the long arc of action, in the lives it touches, and in the unwavering courage it inspires. Ultimately, strength is measured not by the noise it makes, but by the depth it sustains. A mind trained with discipline develops a resilience that is quiet yet unstoppable, ordinary yet extraordinary. It endures hardships, it recovers from setbacks, and it rises with grace again and again. The world may mistake quiet for weakness, but those who know the power of consistency understand that true strength is found in the steadfast, patient, and disciplined mind, a strength that cannot be broken, a resilience that cannot be silenced. When the mind is disciplined, adversity becomes a teacher, not a tyrant. Life will inevitably challenge you, sometimes with gentle nudges, sometimes with storms that feel unbearable. The difference between being crushed by these moments and being transformed by them lies in the mind's preparation. A disciplined mind does not run from difficulty, nor does it curse its presence. Instead, it listens carefully, observes closely, and asks the question that opens the door to growth. What can I learn from this? In every obstacle lies a lesson, and in every trial lies an opportunity to strengthen the spirit. Adversity tests not only your patience, but also your perception. Without discipline, every challenge can appear as a threat, every setback as a final defeat. But a trained mind sees beyond the immediate pain and recognizes that hardship is temporary, that no storm lasts forever, and that every difficulty carries wisdom if we are willing to receive it. Discipline teaches the mind to pause before reacting, to reflect before judging, and to seek understanding instead of surrendering to frustration or despair. In doing so, adversity is transformed from a tyrant that oppresses into a teacher that guides. The lessons of adversity are rarely comfortable. They demand endurance, humility, and courage. They ask you to face fears that you might prefer to ignore, to confront failures you might rather forget, and to challenge weaknesses you might try to hide. But when the mind has been disciplined, these lessons are embraced rather than feared. You learn to extract insight from suffering, to discover hidden strengths in struggle, and to build resilience from moments that could otherwise break you. Every challenge becomes a classroom, and every difficulty becomes a curriculum for growth. Discipline also allows the mind to distinguish between what can be controlled and what cannot. Many people waste energy railing against circumstances they cannot change, letting adversity dominate their thoughts and emotions. A disciplined mind, however, learns to focus on response rather than circumstance. It acknowledges pain without being consumed by it. It recognizes limits without surrendering, and it channels energy into solutions instead of complaints. In this way, adversity stops being a tyrant and becomes a guide, shaping decisions, refining character, and strengthening resolve. Over time, this disciplined approach changes the way you face life entirely. Challenges no longer seem insurmountable. Setbacks no longer feel like the end of the journey. You begin to trust your own capacity to endure, to learn, and to rise. You see that the true power of adversity is not in its ability to harm, but in its ability to teach, if the mind is willing to listen. And when you reach that understanding, you realize that no matter what life throws at you, the disciplined mind can turn every storm into a teacher, every struggle into a lesson, and every moment of pain into a stepping stone toward greater strength, wisdom, and resilience.